The world of Tyria is massive, with many fun, hidden locations all around it. From secluded glens to tucked away caves, steadfast adventurers can stumble upon many a locale. So let's go over 10 different, secret, hidden areas that you can find throughout Tyria. In no particular order, let's get started. And the number 10 spot is Bonegrinder's Gully. This is a relatively simple area that not a lot of players actually know about. This is a point of interest in southeastern Queensdale, where you can find a bunch of Edens that play a part in this local task. But in the same area is a cave that has a wall with a closed gate blocking the entrance to the cave. In front of the gate is a sign that reads, "Only truly threatening people may enter." And through normal means, you can't access this gate. If you try to interact with it, nothing happens. There's no key nearby, no pressure plate. The way to open this gate is by proving that you are a threatening person, and the easiest way to do that is to type /threaten in order to do the threaten emote. And as you do so, the gate will open and you can go through it to find a veteran cave troll who will roar at you and begin attacking you alongside some cave bats. Where this is just a fun little interaction with the world where you can find a dangerous troll, loot a rich copper vein, and admire a few different decorations in a corner of this map. And the number 9 spot is Talus Waterfalls. This area is super nostalgic for me and can be found in southwestern Timberline Falls at the Talus Water Slide. You have a bunch of fun things around here like Care Evermore, the super cool looking entrance to Mount Maelstrom, plus the entire swamp area around here, where, fun fact, my single major contribution to the Guild Wars 2 wiki was adding the trivia section to the Talus Water Slide wiki page, which I just copy pasted from the original Guild Wars wiki article in this section. But in this area, tucked away in the southwestern corner, you can find these gorgeous waterfalls with water pouring into this area. And at this one, you can see some foliage blocking the entrance to a little cave that you can run into to discover an incredible little area. You have a fun little cave here with a lot of waterfalls inside of it. You also got some foliage and this incredible opening to the sky that you can look up out of. Now, the only reason to come here is to find the Talus Steps Guild Trek objective if you're ever doing a guild trek. But coming here from outside of that, such as when an adventurer stumbles upon it in their travels, is just incredible because of how gorgeous this area is. And the number 8 spot is the Provernic Crypt. Now this is an area that most people should actually know about. It's a pretty large area in northern Gandharan fields, and you have an incredible Crichton Crypt here that you can explore. There are achievements during the Shadow of the Mad King Festival that take you here for a bit of a story. You have a major story step for the Zavari personal story that takes place here, and I just love random ruins that you can dive into and explore with various traps and whatnot. But a location here that a few less players may know about is this little spinach garden located on top of the crypts, where I always love stumbling upon gardens like this, and this is a nice place to come to in order to harvest spinach. But a location that even fewer players may know about is between the spinach farm and the crypt is a little cave hidden in the cliffside. You got some fun vines dangling over the entrance, but this cave entrance is much larger, where you got a boulder in the center with some scrolls and a candle, a few bags, barrels, and some crates with this interesting smaller box on top of one of the crates. And then you got a collection of mining picks here with a couple of them right next to this little outcropping, where I don't think we know too much about this location, and I have always found it intriguing. And the number 7 spot is the Rata Sum Viewpoint. This is another relatively common spot that many players know about, but I feel like I have to showcase it at some point just because of how incredible this place is. In the map of Dragon's Stand, in the eastern side of the map, you can find the remains of a Rata Nova's outpost, where you come through this area as you are progressing through the events around here, but if you take some time away from the meta and explore the area, you can come across a very fun detail. Because as you climb up this area, you can get to this specific spot and position your camera to be able to look outside of the map, looking out east of the map. And what is east of Dragon's Stand? Well, it's Rata Sum. And as you look out from this viewpoint, you can see Rata Sum off in the distance and even get an achievement for doing so. Where this is just an incredible detail that I love a lot. Where I also enjoyed the style of Secret in the Gilded Hollow, where you can see the Heart of Thorns way off in the distance. And I love details like this because it makes the world of Tyria feel interconnected. And the number 6 spot is the Hidden Garden. The name of this location is kind of funny because this area is super well known, where I was hesitant to showcase it in one of these videos, but I've gotten multiple requests to, so I thought I would. Where aside from the fact that a lot of people know about this place, this area is truly hidden. Where you can find the region of Deirdre's Steps and Mount Maelstrom in the northeastern corner of the map, just east of the Infinite Coil Reactor, where the main way to access this location is by killing one of 4 different guardians found in certain locations across Mount Maelstrom, and accessing a portal that will take you to a different portal inside of Deander's Steps, depending on which guardian you fought. Where this alone is just incredible. You have an entire area of the map that is hidden away and can only be accessed if you happen to find one of these 4 guardians and then decide to jump through a mysterious portal that you have no idea where it's going to take you to. But once inside, this entire area is a massive jumping puzzle that is really fun to explore, and I love it a lot. Where this entire area is beautiful, and you can see some very fun decorations around here as well. Where of course you have the namesake of the hidden garden located here, where you just have an absolutely gorgeous garden that looks incredible and is useful later on in the game if you progress through a couple of different collections. And the number 5 spot is the Lake Feritas cave. No, not this cave. Not this cave. This cave. This is one of those locations that feels very obvious to exist, but I didn't know about it for a long time just because it's out of the way, where there's no unique area on the map, no point of interest, and just a random event where you kill a rampaging scale that happens every now and then. You got this section of the Great Northern Wall here with a waterfall covering the entrance that you can walk through to find a pretty cool little area, where you got a group of char in here, as well as some scale, where you can probably guess what happened here. But you just have a cave that goes off in a couple of directions with a bunch of Ascalonian ruins. One particular thing about the Great Northern Wall that I love a lot as far as exploration goes is how intricate the wall itself can be, where with it being such a big thing, there are a ton of opportunities for there to be interesting areas to explore within the wall itself, and we do see that happen across multiple zones. And this is just a small location that fits that vibe very well and is fun to come across. And the number 4 spot is Calx's Hideout. Similar to the Hidden Garden, this is a hidden area in a map that you can access via a portal, but it is much less well known compared to Hidden Garden, where you can find it in the southeastern corner of the map tucked away in the mountains, where you can access this region via Parna's Gate north of it, where this gate is often destroyed because of the shenanigans that the Skrit in this area are up to, but should the gate be repaired and active, you can walk through it to be teleported to this special area. It is a very fun looking location where you have an ancient lab of an Asuran known as Calx, who happens to be the aforementioned Parna's ancestor, where it is overrun by destroyers who can fight back as you go through a couple of events here, but you got a ton of lava all around this area, and I would assume that it is a bit deeper into the earth compared to the rest of Metrica Province, but we do see destroyers messing things up here and there around the world. Where I just love the vibe going on here with all the lava, as well as an ancient Asuran lab that you can explore through. And the number 3 spot is the Blasted Sepulchre. This is another guild track location, but it is just a fun area out in Diasa Plateau that is a relatively random spot already tucked away in a slightly out of reach location. In the Blasted Moors, you can find this massive Ascalonian ruin south of the Grindish Ruins point of interest, where one of my favorite areas in the game is this massive area located underneath the ruins that just looks incredible. The main way I come down here is through this old well where you can drop down here right next to a point of interest, but there are also some stairs as well as a tunnel out of here. But if you spend some time here, you can find this little doorway off on one side that is actually opened up, and you can run through it to enter a whole other room of this complex, where there are a couple of oozes in here, but this entire area just looks incredible and I think has a phenomenal vibe. Where I've mentioned this, but I just love diving deep into some old ruins and exploring them. But a fun part about this location is that with the introduction of mounts, and most likely through various other shenanigans beforehand, you can get into this hole in the wall and drop down behind this ruin into this little cave area, which is definitely just an underdeveloped part of the map, but looks cool and would be a fun hiding location for hide and seek. And the number 2 spot is the Secret Tomb in Sparkfly Fen. This is a very interesting location that I don't think I ever really explored until a recent Let's Play episode of mine, where I just walked into this tomb and found this super cool looking area and was just shocked by its existence. I think that's one of my favorite parts about doing map completion in Guild Wars 2, because no matter how many times I do it, I feel like I'll always find something new, and this place is a fantastic example for that, where there is even more going on here than I thought. You can find these 2 Savarii Seal Guardians protecting the front of this locked tomb, where they feel compelled to protect this area, and it is a good thing they are, because occasionally an event will spawn where a bunch of Risen will attack and try to break into the tomb. You can fight back the Risen and defend the tomb, but should the event fail, it will lead into another event where the tomb is breached and you can discover that there was a champion Risen Juggernaut stuck inside who will run out of the tomb and be a dangerous threat in the area, where oftentimes this event will fail as many people often miss it happening or completely ignore it, unless you happen to try to record the event failing for a video, in which case it will never fail. But should the tomb be breached, you can actually run down into it and explore it, and I think it looks incredible as an environment. But I also love the vibes of having a cool looking tomb that serves no purpose, except a house of Dangerous Risen who's a part of a random event in a random map. But now for the last spot on this list, and I saved my personal favorite for last, as it is Risewild Green and Bloodtide Coast. This is another guild trek location, but is hidden in such a good spot that I think most players, especially if you have never happened to come here for a guild trek, miss it. On the eastern side of Risewild Hills, you can find this little canyon area heading into Mentaki Pass, where I think many players often don't run this way, and when they do, they go through here pretty quickly. There are no points of interest or anything really marking this location, for if you're heading from the south up to the north, it is incredibly easy to miss any sign of this place existing, but if you go from the north to the south, you can see this small little opening covered by some plants. And should you decide to investigate this opening, you can stumble upon a very beautiful location that is known as Risewild Green. You have this massive opening here with a ton of beautiful trees, mushrooms, flowers, and other plants. You have a collection of Savari themed buildings. You got an incredible table with 3 stools right next to a very cool looking fence that is blocking the way to this pond area with 2 waterfalls pouring into it. This is just a really random corner that serves a very little purpose in Guild Wars 2, but just has so many phenomenal details packed into it. So many plants, a bit of landscaping work done, and some cool decorations. Honestly, anywhere you stand in here can provide you with an incredible sight. Make sure you take a moment to look up as well, because the upper areas of this location are beautiful. And I just love places like this in Guild Wars 2 because it makes the world of Tyria feel absolutely incredible. And that's my list. I hope you enjoyed. Tyria has a bunch of beautiful hidden locations all around it that are always incredible to explore. I love stumbling upon them and seeing all the various details that have been put into creating this world. If there are any hidden locations that you particularly enjoy, feel free to let me know down in the comments, and I may highlight them in a future video if I have not already. I hope you are taking good care of yourselves. Have a good one, everyone.